Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, sorry I called you so late. I write software and I was just working and I didn't even look at my phone or email or anything.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem. Thank you very much for your time. We are very happy to have you for this interview, for all the French MMA fans and also judokas too. So just to present myself in few words, my name is Jean-Baptiste. I'm a French MMA journalist of globemma.com. I saw you, I met you once last February in Vegas. I was driving to the Mandalay Bay. It was for the fight of Ronda against Sarah McMahon, and I saw you walking with somebody I don't remember, and you know I opened my window and say, "Oh, hello, AnnMaria," and you were like, "Huh?" You know. So yeah, it was funny, but yeah, it's nothing. So yeah, I met last time I met Ronda. It was last October when I came to do a lot of interviews in California. I visited different places and I went to the GFC. I had Edmund for an interview, and at this moment Ronda has just finished her training, and she needed to go to Boston, so we didn't have enough time to spend for an interview, but it will be for next time, I'm sure. But for today, AnnMaria, I'm very glad to have you for this interview because you are a 6th degree judo black belt so that's amazing. And besides that, you won the World Judo Championship in 1984. This tournament in Vienna in the 56 kilograms class. That's correct?
Yes. Yep. And I'm still 56 kilos. There you go.
And also, you are the CEO of your company, 7 Generation Games.
Yep.
And
boy, you do your research.
Yes, I worked all the afternoon on this interview, and it was very interesting to read a lot of things about you. And also the fact that you are one of the 40 women to watch over 40, according to Forbes.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting. So you have a Master of Arts and a Doctorate of Philosophy in Educational Psychology.
Yep.
And you are the mother of the UFC bantamweight champion Ronda Rousey.
Yes, and I have 3 other daughters too.
And 3 others.
I have 4 daughters. Yes, yeah. I have 4 daughters.
Yeah, so that's I have discovered. You are not sad not to have a son?
No, I have a grandson now. He was born in January.
Oh,
so
good. Congrats.
He's very tiny, very cute.
So yeah, the main purpose of this interview, AnnMaria, is regarding this kind of crisis that we can see in the judo scene and between judo and MMA. Recently, the French president of the French Judo Federation, and also he's the general secretary of the International Federation, Jean-Luc Rougé, he said MMA is not a sport, quotes, and he said people who do MMA are barbarians and morons, and also MMA was born to make business. There is not an educative dimension behind this discipline. So for you as a judoka champion and a teacher, what is your opinion about that?
I think that's just a joke. It's ridiculous. First of all, there's plenty of educated people in MMA because there's a number of people who started out in wrestling, went to college on wrestling scholarships, graduated from college, and then went into MMA. There's also people who went to college on football scholarships, graduated from college, and went to MMA. So there are plenty of people who are educated who are in MMA. Ronda was an outstanding student. She's really bright. She went to a science magnet, a school for children that are especially good in science. And when she took her college entrance exam, she did amazing. So it's not that she's too dumb to do anything else. And then, of course, there are people like Ronda, like Romero, like Caro, who came from judo to MMA. So I don't know if they immediately got dumber when they went into MMA. I mean, it was just a stupid thing for him to say. And it is true that MMA is a business and they make money in it and the athletes make money. But it's equally true that the Olympics is a business and makes billions of dollars. And in that case, very little of it goes to the athletes. So I would just say that both judo and MMA are a business, but in mixed martial arts, the athletes get a greater share of the profits than they do in judo.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what we see, behind this in France, is that we can see that money is one of the big problem, in this conflict. Also, do you think MMA is just a trend compared to other traditional martial arts such as judo? That's also one thing that he said, that, oh no, MMA is just a trend, you'll see, and everything else.
I think all sports go through periods where they're more or less popular. Judo was much more popular when I was young. When I would compete in the national championships, I would have, in the women's weight division, there'd be, say, 25 or 30 competitors at the national championships. Now there's like 7 in the national championships. The men's division would have 100, and you had to qualify. So each state, back then, only the top 3 people from each state could go. Now anybody can enter. The men's divisions would have, 180 people, 180. So judo has been going down in the U.S. So you might equally well say judo is a trend. But I do, whether it's racquetball or Brazilian jiu-jitsu, they do have their ups and downs. So, maybe MMA won't be as popular next year as it is now. Who knows? Soccer, when I was young in the U.S., nobody played soccer. Now everybody plays soccer. So it may be, but it may be like soccer where, when you have little children, their children will be playing it, and every kid on the block will be doing it. Who knows?
All right. So, which is crazy also is that recently, I'm sure that you heard this, the European Judo Championships in Glasgow have been cancelled. So it's crazy that even the judokas, the competitors, now they can't compete in their own sport because the championships were cancelled. So what are your thoughts about this?
I think, and I said this many years ago when the president of the United States Judo Federation asked me what I thought judo needed, and I don't know how you would say this in French, but I said, I think people in judo players need to grow a set of balls. Actually, I said it in Spanish, but and then he didn't know what that meant, so I told him in English. Because you have people who are just being told what to do by this higher authority. They randomly come and say, oh, we're going to cancel this, and nobody stands up to them, and it's been that way for years and years and years. And so I think it's ridiculous, but you know what? To some extent, people get what they deserve. And if you don't have the balls to stand up and say, we're going to have a tournament anyway, and the players don't have the balls to say, we're going to compete anyway, and you can't, by the way, you can't tell us we can't teach MMA or we can't do it because there's money in it, then they don't have any place to be whining when they have no money and no respect from anyone.
Yeah, of course. Just one question. Are you involved in the American Judo Federation or not at all?
No, I used to be. Many years ago, I was actually president of one of them. But now I run a company that makes software, and I think, honestly, if I look at what is my possibility to make a bigger difference in people's lives by giving people good jobs that pay them a lot of money, and by helping children learn to do well in school, I think that I still teach judo, but being in those organizations, I don't think they're run by good people. I don't think they're run by people who have the athlete's best interest at heart. And I'm old. You only get one life. And the older you get, I think, the more you want to choose to spend it with good people.
Yeah, so I think I have your answer on that. But do you think judo is in danger because of the international development of MMA?
I think judo was a niche sport when I was growing up, and it still is. That there's going to be those small clubs here and there where people teach judo, and that's what it's been and what it's going to be. I have a question for you, though.
Yes.
Well, over here in the U.S., we always hear that, oh, not many people do judo here, but it's huge in France. It's the biggest sport in France.
Yes.
Is judo the biggest sport in France?
Almost. I think it's the third or the fourth main sport in France. I have some numbers on that. For instance, this year we have like 524,000 people who practice judo. But something interesting is that 80% of this number are judokas under 12 years old.
Interesting.
You see, so, and also what we see is that this number is decreasing years by years. From last year to this year, we lost like 70,000 people, you know. So yeah, I think that's like an alarm for the French Judo Federation. And now they are like, oh my god, we're losing money, and we have all these kids, and so that's a big deal right now. And also, because this is also one of my next question, what do you think we can do to keep these young judokas to keep going judo, you know, after 12 years old? Because everybody is leaving to do soccer, to do rugby, to do tennis or other sports, and they quit at 12 years old. So what can we do as a teacher, as to you know, to keep interesting them?
That's funny because people here are always saying we should look at the French for those answers, and they actually, for the judo instructions, they have sessions for teachers where they say, well, this is what the French do, and they play a lot of games, and a lot of it actually is very good ideas. So I think, you know, playing the games, doing the things with the young kids is a really good idea. It's probably why you have so many young children. Funny enough, I used to teach sports psychology as a course at the university, and when you look at every sport, the reasons kids say that they quit are two reasons. One is it wasn't fun anymore, and the other is I didn't have any friends doing it. My friends weren't there. That's also the main reasons they start a sport. They think it'll be fun and their friends do it. Well, you can say all you want about, oh, you shouldn't think of that. You should think of the future. You could go to the Olympics. But when you're in high school, you're thinking about if that cute girl, if that cute guy in the desk next to you is paying attention to you. You want to go have fun with your friends. You want to just be a kid. And I think judo is very authoritarian.
Yes.
And one of the things with teenagers is they don't want to be told what to do every minute of their life.
Yes.
And as somebody who's been a coach for a long time too, I think you can get students to do things if they truly believe you have their best interest at heart. You know, I know you see, like my youngest daughter plays soccer, and she will get up and she will run in the morning. She will do extra practices. She will do whatever her coach tells her because she really believes Claire, you know, the coach that gives her all this advice, really has her best interest at heart and wants to help Julia get into a college to play soccer. And a lot of judo coaches, I don't think that they have that, and I think the students see it, that they want to feel important. They want somebody to call them sensei or professor, and they don't really care that much about those students. So I think you could do it two ways. You could do it as sort of a mentoring relationship where you actually really, really, truly focused on those students. And I think in judo we often don't. You know, somebody was telling me about a young man several years ago who was a really good judo player, and he got admitted to Harvard. And he said, you should talk to him and tell him that he should come to our program because we have better judo here. And I said, no, I won't tell him that because it will be better for him if he goes to Harvard. And I think many coaches don't have that attitude. So that's one possibility. The other possibility is really to run it as a business. People in the U.S. often say, we need to run judo as a business. You know, I've run a business for 30 years, and it's hard to run a business. And one of the things you have to do is you have to be customer focused. So the way people come in and they want everyone to bow down to them and call them sensei. And and like this thing with the Glasgow thing. I'm telling you, you're not going to work with these people. You're not going to have this sponsor. I don't tell people who buy our computer games they can't buy any other games. I mean, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
So I think if you don't treat people well, if you treat them like they're peasants, maybe when they're little and they can't fight back, they will go along with it, or they don't know any better. But as they get older, they look around and say, I don't have to put up with this. And they leave.
Yeah. I completely understand. Also, can we see in MMA, no, Judo, is it a good school, to start before going to MMA, or now do you think it's better to start doing MMA, many, martial arts, wrestling, boxing, jiu-jitsu, or is it good to start, like in Judo as Ronda did in that case?
Well, Judo is very different than when Ronda started it because they've changed the rules a lot.
Yeah.
And so there's, you can't do a lot of the techniques that would work in MMA. If I really was interested in going into MMA now, I would do both Judo and wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe wrestling and jiu-jitsu, because I think Judo now is more limited than it used to be. I think for little kids, Judo is fine. It's great. My youngest daughter did Judo for years, and then she started soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think she wasted all those years in Judo, right? But her coaches have said really good things about her, and one thing they say is Julia is not afraid of anybody. She's like, and you can have 5 people running at that goal. She learned from Judo to be unafraid, and that's a very, very good thing to learn.
Mm-hmm. All right. One question: when Ronda decided to retire from Judo and to start an MMA career, what was your reaction?
I told her, and I don't know how you would say this in French, I told her that's the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard in my life, and coming from you, that's saying something because you have had some dumbass ideas in your life. And I was wrong, and she could never hear me say that enough.
Yeah.
Anytime I say I was wrong, she'll say, can you say that again, Mom?
So this idea of Ronda to start this MMA career was just after she had this third place at the Olympics in Beijing?
It wasn't right after. She came home and she got a job for a while. She went to college for a semester, and she didn't really find anything that she wanted to do. And so it wasn't immediately after, and she was just going to the gym and working out with some of her old friends who had been in Judo, and now they were competing in MMA. So it wasn't immediately after.
Because she was young at this time when she competed and when she had this bronze medal.
Yeah, she was only 21.
She was 21, so she had the opportunity to compete in London 4 years later and to maybe get this gold medal, no?
Right. But I think she made the right choice because, for one thing, you're an athlete only for a very brief period of time. And, she's made enough money in MMA now to, buy a house, to put money away for retirement. She's got another career started in the movies, where if she'd gone to the Olympics, she would have been 25 and had no money and no retirement and no education and no career, and be starting, at 25, where a lot of other people are at 18. And, competing for your country is wonderful. I've done it. It is a wonderful experience. But at some point, you have to grow up and go out and get a job and support yourself.
Oh, yeah. What is the best quality of your daughter that leads her to her success of today?
She doesn't give up.
All right.
Yeah, when she said she would die in the cage before she gave up, she meant it.
You learn that to her, or it was like inner, it was like.
I think probably it's a combination, but all of my children are like that in their own ways. Even though if they don't all do Judo, they all grew up with the idea that if you want to do something, you can do it, and no one can stop you. You know, I told them that all the time. No one has the right to beat you. Ever, ever, ever.
All right. So Ronda will fight Kat Zingano this Saturday at UFC 184 in Los Angeles. Is it her toughest fight in her career?
They're all the toughest fight in her career. No one's easy till after you beat them.
All right. And of course, as always, you'll be there.
Yes, it's right here in LA, so
Yeah.
it's great.
All right. Thank you very much, AnnMaria, for this interview. It was such a pleasure to have you and to have this talk with you.
Well, you're very welcome.
And
I apologize for the inconvenient time. I know it's very late back there.
No. And would you like to add something, you know, to tell something, I don't know, for all the judo players in France, or I don't know, to anybody or something?
Well, my advice to the judo players would be to be your own person. Don't let all these people tell you what you can and can't do. You know, if you're a successful athlete, it's because you've put out a great deal of effort and you deserve to benefit from that effort.
All right. Thank you very much for these words, and take care, AnnMaria.
All right. Thank you. You have a nice night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.